Hey guys, how's it going? This morning we are going to be planting two different types of shrub, one type of perennial. I cannot believe that we are quickly approaching November and we're still just rocking with the planting. I mean, I've got a lot to do yet. I've got a lot more bulbs to put in the ground, the boxwoods around the Hartley, and a few other projects I want to button up, but it's just been a beautiful fall season and things are still looking good. Case in point, Surefire rose begonias looking phenomenal. I mean, we've got fall color going on the autumn blaze out there, and these are just like not phased at all by any kind of cold that we've had so far. We've had temps, I think, as low as 36, but it looks like our first frost might happen next Friday. So it's about 9 days from now. It says it's going to be 30 degrees. We'll see, but that's still another week without a frost, which is just nuts. Our usual, like our average first frost date is October the 4th. So I cannot believe we're going to make it almost to the end of October without a frost. But here's what we've got today. We've got a hibiscus called Purple Pillar. Now these very much so look like fall. This one has a little bit more activity going on, a few more green leaves. We can toss a picture up on the screen of what these look like with better flowers on them. You know, these are kind of petering out a little bit, but still gorgeous. They have a very narrow growth habit. We've got a Heucherella called I Spy. These, let me move this. These are enormous. Look at this. Oh my goodness gracious. These are beautiful. And then we've got a false spirea called Mr. Mustard. Love this plant. Also, this is completely unrelated, but it just made me think about it because I do have my coffee out here this morning, and I had this cup in our recent recap video, and a lot of you thought I had a bug crawling on my cup because this is the side I had facing you. It's a flower. On the other side, it's a beautiful face. So anyway, it's not a bug. Okay, so let's talk some details really quick. The I Spy here grows about 8 to 10 inches tall, the leaf canopy anyway, and then it shoots up blooms quite a bit taller. They're kind of a soft pink color. And then its maximum size here is 16 to 20 inches, which I would say, I mean, I don't have a tape measure with me, but I think we're getting pretty close to full width here. They're also a zone 4 through 9. Now, heucherellas are a mix between a heuchera and a Heucherella, kind of gathering up the best things about both of those and combining it into one plant. I have done a video in the past. It's been a minute since we did that video, but I explained the differences between heuchera, heucherella, and Heucherella. Maybe we can link that one down below. Anyway, I'm excited about it. This one does thrive the best in a part shade location, but it can do more sun, it can do more shade. It kind of just depends on your climate. Here, where we get so brutally hot in the summer with no cloud cover, no humidity, really no protection for these plants, I tend to like to put these in an area that are at least protected from the afternoon sun. Then the purple pillars. Now these grow 10 to 16 feet tall, only 2 to 3 feet wide, making them an excellent choice for a really narrow spot in your garden for a hedge or a screen. They do perform best in full sun, and once they're established, they are a real low water user, which is great. They're a zone 5 through 9, and because they have kind of like this vertical growth habit, they're not going to produce a ton of side branching, so they typically don't need to be pruned, but you do want to locate this one where it's not going to get like heavy snow loads, so you wouldn't want to plant it like right underneath, you know, a roof, that kind of thing. And then our Mr. Mustard Spirea. I actually have 3. There's 2 here, and then there's 1 riding up front with me. So these are so cool, and I wish that I was showing you these earlier in the season, but we can show a picture of maybe some new leaf color, because when they come out, they're like chartreuse, apricot, pink, and green. I mean, they're just the most vibrant, beautiful plants, and they come up with these almost like astilbe-like blooms, and they're white when they bloom. So there's these white cloud-like blooms on top with this really vibrant foliage down below. And then later on in the summer, they kind of mellow out to just like a normal medium green, and then they start getting their fall color, which you can see starting to form up right now. And I think that the spent blooms actually look very pretty. They add some really neat texture in the fall and winter months. Here's the thing about this plant. So it grows 2 to 3 feet tall and about 4 feet wide. It grows more, wide than it does tall. It's got a really neat structure. It does attract bees and butterflies as well when it's in bloom, but they do like to sucker. So it's something to consider. It's not a super aggressive suckering plant though, so it's not something you have to constantly battle. It's usually once a year you go in and remove the suckers and that's it for the season. But they're really wonderful to use like out in the south garden. This is where they're gonna go. I want some of the areas to fill in and look more natural. So if you're wanting something, a plant that will kind of sucker out and fill in a space, this is a really good plant for that. But it's something to consider if you don't want that maintenance. A lot of things you have to go in and maintain once a year anyway. But if that's something you don't want to be doing with this type of shrub, then you might choose something else. But I have the tiger eyes sumac out in the south garden as well, and that one, for a sumac, it does not sucker as aggressively as the other older varieties do, but it still does sucker. But I chose it specifically because it's got a really interesting color throughout the whole season. It's like on fire in the fall. I'll show you. It's just gorgeous, and I wanted it to fill in the area it's in, and it's doing it a little bit so far. It is a zone 2 through 7 though, so those of you who live in super duper frigid climates, this is a really good choice. It does bloom on old wood though, so do consider like putting it somewhere where you can let it just go for it, not pruning the branches at all so that you don't accidentally prune off blooms for next year. Okay, I think that's all for details. I want to get out there and get these things planted. The heucherellas are going to go up here closer to the house, and then the shrubs are going out into the south garden. I need to warm up a little bit, and then we're going to head out. Beautiful morning to be out here planting, you guys. I got them all in the ground. I love where they all ended up, and it was so fun planting something up here in this great big giant flower bed that we've done nothing with yet other than setting up the beautiful fountain in this space. I love hearing that sound while I'm out here. And then Erin and I were just talking about how the views are improving so much, out in the south garden when you're looking through different spots and really seeing some of the new things we've put in this year, some of the things we've put in last year, just everything combined. It's starting to fill up and the views are improving everywhere, and I just love it. So the heucherellas look so pretty in this spot. Now I am short one because I kind of want it to be a drift in a kind of triangle shape. So I'm going to put one more right here. It's going to probably be next spring before I can find one. I doubt I'll be able to find one this fall, but anyway, that's the plan. I didn't have any problem digging around this locust tree. In fact, I used a shovel, which is, unlike me. I don't use shovels that often, unless one, I might be dealing with tree roots and I don't want to wreck anything with the auger or get injured myself. Those augers, if they hit something in the soil and you're not expecting it, a root or a large rock, it can be pretty jarring. That's why you see me like in that power stance whenever I use the auger, because I'm just bracing just in case there's something in the soil. But I use a shovel if I know there might be tree roots, or if I'm trying to be extra careful to be clean. Way easier with a shovel than with an auger, although the auger's typically faster Anyway, pros and cons to each. But I only ran into one root in the very last hole, and it was like maybe the diameter of my pinky. Really surprising. But there's no water to this flower bed. And we've got a couple of plants here that were here originally. So this is a Artemisia, which typically they want full sun, and I think this would be a lot bigger if it did receive a lot of sun, but I love the size of it. And it doesn't get any water here because there's no drip in this spot right now. There's also a Brother Stephan clematis, which I'm gonna let be a ground cover. I planted this maybe 2 seasons ago when there used to be a fence right here. There was a little white picket fence section, and I wanted it to grow on that, but I think it'll be just fine just kind of crawling around on the ground, and it will be much happier once it receives water. But how we're gonna run the drip in this area, because it does slope up, and I don't want this to receive a ton, we're gonna run individual emitters to each one of these plants, and we'll run a tube behind each of these plants, and then we'll kind of spider off of it and come down and just target the root balls here and target the root ball of the clematis. There's also a red point maple we planted a few seasons ago, and boy, I'm happy we did that. I mean, we planted it before we even realized we were going to be, you know, expanding. But it looks really pretty. Look at the fall color. And then I think that this hollyhock is going to outlive us all. I think it's going to outlive everything. That hollyhock gets no water, except maybe the occasional Aaron would come out here with a hose to deep soak the maple tree, and I think it got some runoff from that. And then occasionally I would see a little wet spot around it. Somebody was, you know, feeling bad for it, giving it a little water. But it bloomed beautifully this spring. In fact, I think I took some pictures. I'll double check. And it's been bulldozed several times, and it's just like loving its life. So it deserves to stay. I'll let it stay there as long as it wants to. Here's a look from this side. I'm really happy with this plant. I think I'm going to put in something right here, like maybe oak leaf hydrangea, maybe a couple of them right in here, and then maybe one on the other side. So like 1, hey Russell, 1, 2, and then 3. That would be really pretty. Also, while we're over here, I wanted to show you the little lime punch hydrangeas because they look so good this year. Look at the color on them. Aaron was really diligent with the iron this year, so they didn't suffer so much from chlorosis, and they all just look so great. I'm so thrilled. Look at this. Beautiful, especially backed by those Italian ice roses, and there's sweet romance lavender in there. Bunch of lamium. I actually think everything in the garden benefits from a little bit of that cool down in the fall. Everything kind of seems to look refreshed. Okay, we're gonna head out and look at those purple pillar hibiscus. The hibiscus are actually over here, but I wanted to show you 1, the sumacs, and 2, there's a white pillar hibiscus, which is very similar to the purple pillars we just planted, but it has a year of growth on it. Look at that. White pillar, it's got such a pleasing growth habit. I love it, and I love that deep green, and the sumacs, you guys. Holy moly, I want those to naturalize a bit. So we planted these, of course, last year, and you can see like this is, well, that's a branch connected. Hold on. Oh, right here. There's little ones kind of popping up, but is that it? I think everything else is connected to the main plant. So yeah, minor suckering over here so far. Absolutely glorious in the color department. I mean, just wait, because they hang on to these, and these are all starting to turn as well. It's just gonna be like fireballs over here soon. But I love it. As you look at it this way, we've got some sage advice, or these denim and lace, one of the two, Russian sage. We've got some echinacea in there. It's just all coming together beautifully. Cat's meow nepeta, little mini tour here. There's some blonde ambition grass right there that I love. This looks like raspberry beret echinacea. They were unlabeled when I got them, but oh, loving it. Okay, so the purple pillars are right in here, and I wanted to plant them all together, but far enough apart to where they will still look individual when they mature. But I think that will be incredibly striking to see those strong vertical accents here and have some nice color. We've got a Kwanzaa cherry nearby, which will give us some really pretty spring color. This pink, this is spring color as well. This is a Centaura double blue lilac, so we'll get 6 to 8 feet here, and then these will tower above that. Weeping white spruce is doing great. We've got flame willows in here. Those flame willows are actually going to our friend's house, the ones that are kind of to the, like right in front of the tractor. And then we've got a Canada red chokecherry, a Norway spruce back in there, but it's just all starting to fill in beautifully. I think those are going to be great right in here. And they will provide our nice pink summer color. Last is the false spirea, and those ended up on the other side. As we're walking that direction though, I just have to show you the cosmos that I planted very late in the season. This is baby grass, but I'm gonna tiptoe across it. Look at this. Oh, so worth starting a crop right in the middle of the summer. Started these in trays in the greenhouse so that I had an easier time watering them, consistently watering them anyway. Same with these zinnias right here, looking amazing. And the marigolds are just starting to bloom. Hang on. Started those in trays as well. Fun to have a fresh crop of late flowers. This is Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus here. It looks really good, but it looks like right in the middle it got nailed by frost. That's like typical. It looks like it kind of melted, but these look great. I don't know what in the world. Okay, Aaron's gonna see Laura-sized footprints walking through his fresh grass. And here are the false spireas. I tucked them in between a black lace elderberry, which will get quite large, and that's why I kind of did the drift facing this way, kind of going around where this black lace is going to fill in. And there's also a Montana moss juniper, which I think these grow like, what, 2 to 3 feet tall, maybe 4 to 5 feet wide. So I was originally going to put them kind of around the front, but I think they'd get too tall, and I don't want them to compete with that. However, I do think that the combination here with the green, the blue, and then the deep color of the elderberry is really nice. So I think these will do great over here. They can do part sun, but they will get full sun out here, and I think that we'll have really good color and really good bloom production out of these. These are also very tolerant and adaptable to crummy soils and high pH soils, which is great because this side of our garden tends to be the most difficult to dig holes in. Things are doing okay though. I mean, so far so good. We haven't had anything really suffer, except for a couple of the arbs, the arborvitaes along our fence line. Right in here, we've had to replace a couple of them a couple of times, and one hole we just left completely open because we're not really sure what to do with it. But we're just going to continually add gypsum to help break up the soil and more, organic matter, and then over time, hopefully we'll improve what's going on over here. And you guys, that is it for today's project. Super happy to have those in the ground. We'll probably be doing, more planting videos as long as we can, but the difference is the plants will just start looking more and more fall or winter-esque than they do right now. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next video.